Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Should You Play, where I'm going to show you some spoiler-free gameplay and give you my thoughts after playing new games for a few hours, as well as highlighting and checking out at least one of the PlayStation Plus games for each month. In this video, I'm playing one of the July 2024 PlayStation Plus games, Borderlands 3, the latest installment in the Borderlands series.
Give your offerings now so you can join our elite Iridium tier chat for behind-the-scenes murder and mayhem!
Borderlands 3 came out in 2019 and is almost definitely being released as a PlayStation Plus game to promote the new movie coming out in August. But having already played through and platinumed the entire game, I can already say it's worth your time.
Ready for some more action?
That's why I'm here. Asses. And kicking them.
For context, Borderlands 2 is one of my first real video games I bought for myself, aside from the Pokemon series and a handful of PS2 and Wii titles growing up. But it's also one of my favorite video games of all time.
Glad to have so many badasses on our side.
Borderlands 3 in comparison, well, it's not perfect, but it's still really good and it improves on the previous games in a lot of ways.
I suppose congratulations are in order.
The game takes place about 7 years after the end of Borderlands 2 and follows one of 4 playable Vault Hunters: Amara the Siren, Flack the Beastmaster, Mose the Gunner, and Zane the Operative, as they investigate the Children of the Vault and the Calypso twins for Lilith and the Crimson Raiders.
New Vault Hunter, huh? Name's Marcus. You picked a hell of a time to join the Crimson Raiders.
So the first thing to talk about here is obviously the gameplay, and it feels just as good as Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel did, if not better. The main draw in this series is the variety of guns, grenades, abilities, and other weapons, and Borderlands 3 has all of them in spades. Weirdly enough, it's the type of game where menu management becomes fun. Not because you're overburdened and can't move with too many items in your inventory, but because you might realize that one of the guns you picked up is actually capable of psychological warfare.
I'm going to shoot, and if you're in the way, it's not my fault.
Each of the 4 playable characters has a really distinct set of abilities as well, with Flack being my personal favorite, using his various beast buddies to help you out in combat. But Mose has her mech that's capable of shooting rockets and flames, Amara has siren abilities that restrain and confuse her enemies, and Zane adapts to the battle with his drones, barriers, clones, and cannon. You'll be taking on an array of enemies, including bandits, mercenaries, different types of animals, and some outlandish bosses, and piles of ammunition for you to fire at them are never far away. The combat elements are really satisfying, and while it's challenging and you'll literally be fighting for your life regularly, you'll still have fun regardless of which difficulty you're using. Some of the other positive updates to gameplay include one-button ammo purchases, sliding, climbing ledges, the ability to use more than one action skill at a time, vehicle customization and variety, and way more guns and grenades. At the start of the game, you'll probably be stuck with some regular assault rifles, shotguns, and SMGs. But as you progress, you'll start getting armed with sniper rifles that shoot fire lasers and pistols that shoot balls of electricity, in addition to some pretty crazy looking grenades. Honestly, there are a ton of quality of life changes to the gameplay that weren't necessarily needed, but are very much appreciated.
That's what I've been saying!
As for the narrative elements, this is unfortunately the weak side of Borderlands 3 for me.
So, you want to hear a story, huh?
Maybe it's because I was spoiled with how good Borderlands 2 and Handsome Jack were, but this game's story isn't nearly as good as it could have been. The Calypso twins replace Handsome Jack as the main antagonists, but they really aren't anywhere near as menacing or charismatic as he was, and the overarching storyline isn't as engaging either.
From what I hear, Tyreen Calypso's the star of the show. Her brother Troy runs the cult's propaganda. P.S. They both suck.
You get to move around more planets, which is nice, as it mixes up the setting, and you have a nice combination of new and returning characters.
Hey, Vault Hunter!
Yet sometimes it feels like you're just going through the motions to get to the next fight.
I'm getting this vibe that you don't really get what we're doing here.
That's not to say that the characters aren't well written or that the dialogue is bad, because they definitely aren't. But in a game that does so much right, it's a shame to see this aspect fall down, especially when there's some really great humor propping it up.
Okay, one more time and I'm gonna say it slowly. Don't kill the Malawan guys.
Kill the Malawan guys! Or you! Or my queen! Or my...
Some other stuff that bothered me, the matchmaking system is a mess and a drastic downgrade. In Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel, if you wanted to play a game with some random people online, the game would show you a list of players with public sessions who were near your level, and you could drop in and out as you please. However, in Borderlands 3, you have to search for a session, and you could be waiting for literal hours.
We're in the crap, amigo, no doubt about it.
Maybe there are less people playing public sessions on PlayStation in general, but even a few months after the game released, I remember it took me forever to get put into someone's game, and sometimes I got even more unlucky and got repeatedly put with someone who was AFK. Who knows though? With the game now available to all PlayStation Plus users, there might be a rush of players flooding the servers, and this issue could disappear for a while. My only other gripe is with Sanctuary 3, your main hub for the game where you'll be interacting with your allies, upgrading weapons, and taking a breath between missions. I've never been a fan of hubs like this that have multiple levels and not many ways to get around, and while muscle memory did kick in for me during my replay here, I do remember having some pretty severe issues navigating around the ship trying to find stationary waypoints. As far as bugs go, the only thing that I noticed was some textures popping in and out before and after cutscenes or teleports, which isn't a huge deal since the game runs incredibly smooth otherwise, but it's a bit of a shame to see it's still an issue all these years later. Even so, Borderlands 3 is definitely worth your time, especially if you have a group of friends who already own it, or if you've enjoyed any of the previous installments in the series.
Take the rest out together.
I don't really know anyone that's played Borderlands 3 and put their controller down because the story wasn't compelling enough, because the main draw really is the gameplay, which they did a really good job refining from the pre-sequel in Borderlands 2.
To glory!
The main story takes about 20 hours to play through, and if you're doing all of the side missions or trying to collect skins, trinkets, and unique guns, you can easily bump that up to 60 or 70 hours, and then even more if you decide to play any of the DLC content.
Are you crazy? I say we stay here and build a fort.
As always though, this is just my opinion. If you've already played the game, or if you've managed to shoot your way through it, let me know in the comments what you thought of Borderlands 3. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Don't forget to like, follow, and obey.
For now, my scout is waiting for you up ahead. Good luck.
She spoke inside my mind. Strange.
This is your stop, Vault Hunter.
Excellent. The hunt begins.
Try to stay alive. I'd hate to lose a new customer.